Hello, this is the open house video for academic biology with Mrs. Chiafulio. I'm sorry that we're not meeting in person. I really do love open house night. I think it's fun to meet all the parents and to see, the students come in and talk a little bit about the class, but unfortunately, this is the way we're going to do things this year. So this is not my first time teaching. I've been teaching for 15 years at Freedom. I teach mostly honors and AP biology, but I've also taught academic in the past, and I'm teaching it again. I think it's really important for you to understand that we're teaching this course very closely with the other two teachers who also teach academic bio. In other words, our planning is very much in line with one another to make sure we're hitting the same objectives and the same pacing so that we can get through all of the goals. So welcome. And what I'd like to do now is I would like to show you my screen so that we can take a look at some key things that I put together. Okay, let me present this. There we go. All right, so welcome. So as I just said, my name is Mrs. Chiafulio. I am the one on the left, and then there are two other teachers that you might see in some of the videos and demos and things like that, Miss Kavacki and Miss Salter. The topics that we're going to study, we're going to be covering 6 units. We're going to basically go sort of micro, macro, and then micro again. We'll talk about the chemistry and cells. Then we'll talk about how cells join together to form larger organizations, leading up to organisms and how organisms make populations and things like that with ecology. Then at the ecology level, we'll jump into energy. Then now having the energy and metabolism to do things, we're going to talk about replication and reproduction. So we'll be looking at genetics. And then we will end with talking about heredity and biotechnology. An important thing to discuss here, our teaching method. We specifically choose activities so that students can drive their own learning and they can move through the material at their own pace. It's really important that students turn those assignments in on time so that teachers can provide feedback so we can evaluate and measure how a student is doing compared to the standard we have set. And then that will allow us to be reflexive and responsive in how we adjust where they're going to go next. Another thing that's really important in this class is we want students to develop goals. So we want you to see beyond the end of the course, right? What are we trying to instill? We're trying to instill lifelong learning skills and a knowledge of biology that's going to be relevant to your lives, okay? As you get older, when you are of voting age and when certain environmental matters come to hand, or if you have children and your children are sick, a knowledge background for biology is going to be very important. These are some of the pieces of technology we're going to be using this year. Schoology is the main place where we're going to house all of our materials. PlayPosit we're going to be using heavily. That's how we're going to watch videos. It allows us to track if a student has watched a video, has completed the video, and also allows us to ask some questions along the way. So that's not meant to be like a test, that's meant to be a self-check for the students. We're going to be using Zoom a lot. That is our video conferencing software. Pear Deck is a way that we can do check-ins where students are going to answer questions on slides and then teachers will provide feedback. And Padlet will also be like that. It's sort of like a digital bulletin board, and that's going to enhance some collaboration with students. And then lastly, Kami and or Google Slides, that's what we're going to use most often when we need students to fill out worksheets and turn them in, if they're writing up lab summaries or if they're doing a web activity and they're answering questions like on a web quest, something like that. How do we assess? Okay, so throughout this course, we divide up each of the units into levels, and students are not allowed to move to the next level until they have completed the level they're on. What this means is some students may be able to pace faster, other students may need a little bit more time and support, and that's okay. There's some flexibility in there, within a day or two. We want to make sure everyone's, reaching our final course goals. So during the level, constantly using check-in questions and video answering questions and things like that, so students can monitor their own progress. It's really going to be an important piece of responsibility for the students to reach out and ask for help as needed. At the end of the level is a mastery quiz, and students must pass this quiz in order to move to the next level. So in addition to multiple choice, there's also a practice free response question, and this is going to help prepare them for our Keystone exam. A student has 3 attempts to pass the mastery quiz, and if they have not by that point, then it's now time for a relearning opportunity, because what it means is maybe we missed something while we were doing those check-ins. Maybe there was a misconception that was made, and we need to go back and address it. So some sort of relearning is going to occur, whether it's a one-on-one live review session with me as the teacher, or whether they complete some additional reinforcement assignments, and then they will be allowed to reassess after that. Okay, and we'll work to get all students demonstrating mastery. The biology keystone. So it is a state graduation requirement that students pass keystone in biology, in literature, and in Algebra 1. So this is a keystone course, which means that our curriculum is strongly guided by the keystone eligible content. When you open up each week, you'll see an agenda and you'll see a list of objectives and the keystone standards that go with it, just to show you how much we're staying aligned to that. The test will be broken up into 2 parts. Half of it will be about cells and processes, and the other half will be about continuity and unity of life. And it will contain a mixture of multiple choice and free response questions. So as you can see, we're going to be making sure that we're practicing the question types, we're practicing the question rigor, so that your students are prepared for the Keystone when they take them in January. So that pretty much gives you a summary of what we are all about in academic biology. We know that there are some challenges this semester with the hybrid and e-learners. Every student is spending some time at home asynchronously. The most important thing I can impress upon you as a teacher is how important it is to set up a routine, to set up a schedule for your student at home. When they are doing their work at home, it is expected that they do the daily assignments. So, if they're a hybrid student and they don't come to school except on Wednesday and Friday, they are being given work to do Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. The work they do on Tuesday is necessary to prepare them for what is going to happen in class on Wednesday. So it's really important that the students stick to a routine and make sure they're doing their daily assignments. Every student in every class has 5 days of schoolwork every week. Okay, that is in order to maintain the rigor necessary for these classes, but also it is necessary to make sure that we can get through the course and that the student can earn the credit for the class as well. So please help them set up that schedule, set up that routine. And as always, if there are any questions, the best way to get in contact with me is email. My email is chiafulio@basdschools.org. And you can look that up on the staff directory. Your students should all have access as well. Please, the other thing is make sure that you are checking into Home Access Center. If you do not know how to access it, please email me and I will gladly show you. You will need to know, you'll have a username and password that will be assigned to you, but Home Access Center is going to keep a copy of all of the grade books for all of your students' courses, and that is how I let parents know when things are missing. So if you see a 0 in the grade book, that does not mean the student has earned a 0. What that means is that the student is missing that assignment and is something that needs to be turned in. So please help me keep on top of the students and make sure that even during these odd times when there's so much in school and out of school, that we are we're doing our best here to keep things going. Lastly, if you want more one-on-one time with me, I will gladly give it. I have office hours on Thursdays and Fridays from noon to 1. I have mandatory time on Monday where I'm meeting with e-learners, but all of my students are invited to attend to that. And also a simple request for a one-on-one Zoom meeting any other time after 2:30 Monday through Friday. I will be glad to help. I hope we have a great year. Let me know if you have any questions.